Hi there, I'm Tyler, and I'm playing today with the Gauntlet community. We're playing Dog the RPG, which is a phenomenal game. It's so much fun. It's cute. A very small indie game, but you can find it on RPG.com if you'd like. Um, I'm sorry. Shit.
Drive through RPG.
Drive Through RPG. There we go. It is still out there. And we're playing the Terrifying Tomb of Ankh-Khotun, which is an adventure for it, as far as I know, the only adventure for it, written by John Kennedy. Dog comes from, if anybody ever read the Knights of the Dinner Table, this was a casual toss-off joke in that strip, in that comic. And someone went out and made the game, and thank God they did, because it's a lovely, cute little game. As I say, we're playing with the Gauntlet, which I play with quite a bit. Wonderful group. If you're interested, go to Gauntlet-RPG.com. You can find us there. We're on Facebook. We have a G+. Go and look for some of the greatest people we ever get a chance to play with. Part of the Gauntlet is we have the Gauntlet inclusivity policy, which is basically to say that we're all friends here. We're all here to support each other. This is an open table and an open group. We're here to have a good time together. Along with that, I also have the X card on the table. For those of you who don't know, if you have something that's problematic, something that's just distracting from the fun, if something gets a little too intense and you need to say, hey, this is not enjoyable, you can put up like this, you can put something in the chat, or you can say, hey, Tyler, I think I want to X card that. I may ask for clarification, but we'll just rewind, reframe, and move on. If by chance it's something that you feel like, having been struck, that you would like to, to talk about it, we are here as friends. You can put something in our chat, you can put something in our G+ group, or we can take a few moments and let you unload on that. Again, since we're here as friends, we're all here to have fun. I'm going to give a real quick last time on, and then we'll introduce our pack of dogs. We are missing one of our pack who was with us last time, which is sad, but he had things he really needed to do. And so I will give a quick overview and probably be using that character as an NPC for those of you who happen to watch the first one. Last time in our game, our pack of dogs are part of an expedition into Egypt, following under a rather haphazard, ill-lucked noble, Sir Brian Alfred Felton, who has spent most of his family fortune in Egypt attempting to find the great antiquities of that culture. He has not succeeded thus far. But with the last scraps of the money he has, he's put together an expedition. And in this case, he has not brought the best of people with him. He has found a somewhat questionable doctor, Dr. Higgins, and he has also put together the few workers who are willing to still come out here. They are near the tomb of Tutankhamun, and during their excavation, they have discovered a wall in the earth, a possible tomb. But Sir Brian decided that no, this could not be near enough to Tut's tomb to be worthwhile, and he's moved off from it. However, since then, rats began disgorging from it, and our doggy friends, led by, let me remember his name real quick, Finuku, which is our missing packmate, having a dream in which he was told that his ancestors had stood up to a terrible and horrible feline threat, Ankh-Khotun, who had wished to take over the world and have mankind and dogkind serve the cats. a fate that just simply cannot stand, and was told that his ancient bloodline, he should go through and destroy Akhenaten for the last time. He went and came to the camp where he had seen our other packmates amongst the explorer's crew, and bringing them in as allies, they had set off to meet this threat. However, behind them was Dr. Higgins' rather unpleasant cat, Bentley, who had given them threats and said that you cannot stand against the feline king that was rising, and that cats soon would dominate the entire world. Along with that, members of the human community in this expedition had grown sick. And with that kind of unpleasantness behind them, our pack had gone into this tomb to stop the feline threat that was lurking there. In so moving through, they had encountered murals on the wall that showed Dog very similar to Fuku. Oh, God, I'm so bad with names. I'm sorry. He's not there anymore, though. Fanuku.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I hid the column.
Oh,
so I can see better.
I gotcha. Fanuku, as this sort of noble dog fighting against the cats and driving them back. But then, after passing a set of stone guard dogs, they had entered into this tomb, which showed cats riding on the backs of humans, making humans clean up after them, and dogs cowering underneath this seeming supremacy of the cats. Then they had, as they traveled through, encountered stone cat guardians, which had kind of been nasty. Had attacked our pack as they moved through. Idon, one of our pack mates, had suffered a pretty sizable wound from one of them before they managed to crush and destroy these stone cats and move on through into a space where there were the remains of humans, one of which one of our packmates, Czar, had gone up and taken a rather delicious-smelling bone from the remains, when this skeletal human sat up and tugged to get his femur back. Czar was not to be denied, and pulling away the femur, the skeleton collapsed. Luke, another packmate, had gone over after the battle and had also grabbed one of these femurs, and both dogs had found them very tasty. From there, the pack had moved and decided to head down a passageway smelling strongly of cat, and had heard the howl of a cat further down it when we had stopped. So I'm going to ask everyone to introduce themselves, and I'm going to start with you, John. Introduce yourself and your character, please.
Okay, my character is Czar, who is a Russian dog that I can't remember exactly what the name of it was, because it's Ogashanka or something. It's the Russian bear hunting dog, so it is just a giant beast, and he is pretty much really strong to the point that he doesn't know that he's strong, and he just wants to be everybody's friend, and sometimes they end up getting smashed when he does that.
Excellent. And I believe that your master was Dr. Higgins, who is also the human of the cat Bentley.
Yes.
Patrick, introduce yourself and your dog.
So hi, I'm Patrick. I'm playing Luke, which is how it's pronounced, but it's spelled funny. But that's not a problem for dogs, so it's just Luke. I don't know why Fanuku had such a problem with it last time. It's not like he could read. Weirdo. Anyways, he's a giant, mostly Irish wolfhound. He's the pet of Benny, a student who's sort of the competent one that all of the higher ups in the expedition here lean on. Luke's generally fairly friendly, maybe not the smartest dog that ever was, but he's real big, so that makes up for some of it.
And I think Benny had ended up being one of the ones who had grown sick.
Yes, Benny was in dire straits, all curled up in his cot. Wouldn't even play with the toy like he was supposed to.
Mm. And Richard, if you'll introduce yourself and your dog.
Idon is a blue healer, or a progenitor of one of the blue healers. As such, he is not only dog, but he's part dingo, and has those distinctive spots on his back. He is an ankle biter and a very energetic, though trying to always look distinguished, dog, who has the world's most disappointing master, Edwin, who he was left to after his original master passed on. And Edwin has been riding Benny's coattails for this entire trip, and it's so bad that even his dog knows it. So in addition to coveting Luke's master, Idon is also sort of trying to, at least, if he can't figure anything else, at least get a way to help Edwin shape up. And that was before we discovered there was evil cat magic afoot. But as a working dog, Idon is very good at communicating with all sorts of other animals, though not always in a pleasant, friendly way.
Excellent. All right, so let's hop right in. If we remember, we had a room that had two doors off of it, one of which we had smelled birds down through, and the other which we had smelled cats. And because we have been directed that we must destroy the bones of this evil cat, we had sort of decided to head down it when we'd heard that horrible scrawl from the cats, from a cat down from it, and we could smell the cat pee and the ickiness that, all cats are just nasty, down from that hallway. And so our pack begins to move down through. The light is very dim, but there is a faint greenish light that's coming off of the paintings, and dogs being exceptionally good at seeing in low light, you're seeing pretty well through this. And up on these pictures drawn on the walls, you can see cats in various stages of enjoying themselves, playing with balls, being fed by humans, and even riding on the backs of dogs. These pictures. As you travel down the passageway, the smell of cat grows stronger, and it opens into oops, we lost John. I'll give him just a second to get back. But while he's coming back, Luke, what do you think about these pictures you're seeing? What are you saying as you're walking down the hallway?
Well, we're British, and even being dogs, we're brought up to be polite, and it's not polite to discuss such obscene and heretical art. It's not even, it definitely doesn't bark at that one over there. It's evil, it's stupid, and it's wrong. That's why do cats think they're so special? But I'm not mentioning any of it.
How about you, Iden?
Iden has met a lot of agreeable and disagreeable cats in his day. And it is certain that these cats are 2-1 of the disagreeable variety. And it seems almost certain that before any of these cats get to be at large and offend cats that Iden likes with their disagreeableness, Iden should work justice to avoid the good cats of the world from being perturbed by these, or corrupted, even worse, corrupted by these evil, disagreeable cats.
And so, with a stiff upper muzzle, you wander down through the hallway and enter into this room. And I'll go ahead and describe it, and hopefully John will be back with us in a moment. I know there are a bunch of storms going through all of the southeast, so I hope he hasn't lost power. As you enter into this room, it is very large. There is directly in front of this. He will be back hopefully with us in a moment. This room, there is a large dais across from you, and behind it you can see there is a golden door. It is closed, and carved on it is an enormous face of a cat. The cat is wearing some sort of hat or headdress, and it's looking, how smug cats can look, sitting there, looking down towards you. On either side, though, you can see that there are images of dogs. A dog in particular, it seems, who looks very much like your friend Fanuku. This dog also has one of these hat things on, and you can see that there's a human in these images that seems to be playing with this dog. You see them running through fields. You see them playing tug with a rope. But in all of these pictures, there is a cat, again with that headdress, sitting there watching with disdain. There are also several large urns open, and from the inside of them, you can smell the very faintest smell of fish. Also, there is a chest which is sitting open, and inside of it it's piled with metal, little round pieces of metal that shine in this light. And along with that, you also see on either side of the door are two of those stone cats that you had seen previously, that when you got near them had come to life and attacked you. Other than that, you see that there is an alcove off to the side where the remains of a human is sitting. He is wrapped in fine fabrics, not that you know fine fabrics, but he is very clearly an ex-human. His skin is drawn tight, and he is turned black, and he is motionless, and you could hear no breath from him, and he smells dry and musty. There's no life to him. So, Luke, what do you do?
I suppose I'm like wary of those cat statues. Those ones out in the hallway attacked us, and we're evil and nasty, like you'd expect cats to be. So I'm gonna go sniffing around their bases, like very slowly coming up to them, sort of sniffing at the ground and growling a little bit just to let them know that I mean business and I am not to be trifled with.
As you reach the bottom of the dais leading up to the door and getting closer to these cats on either side of it, as you put your first paw up onto the dais growling, one of these statues moves.
I think there's that lean back and all the fur goes out in all directions. Just barking at it madly.
What do you do, Idon?
As soon as it makes a hiss, I clear my throat and stick out my chest and sit down in the authoritative way of a dog who is showing that he is casually in charge of the situation, and look straight at the cat and try to make eye contact with it and say, "Stay." And answer for yourself. Who are you?
It growls. It's deep cat growl, and in a language that is you recognize as cat, but which is strange. It's you can't pass, dog.
My name is Idon. This is Luke. He spells it funny, but we can't read, so who knows?
I heard my name. Did you explain the spelling thing?
Yes, I explained the spelling.
Okay. Just so he knows.
Dog Idon. Dog Luke. You cannot pass.
According to whom?
The great Anghaten.
Mm. Do you have that in an authoritative written form with a paw print or something? I mean, any cat can say anything.
It sort of looks at you and kind of looks over at its stone companion. And Akhenaten, and he kind of motions with its head back towards the door, the golden door. His sleeping den cannot be entered. And John, just to catch you up, they've entered into a room. We've got some jars full of very dried out fish. We got a human mummy, basically wrapped in fine clothes, sitting in an alcove. We have a dais leading up to a golden door where we have an image of a cat with its little covering thing. And on the walls, though, we have a dog. Looks a lot like Fanuku, has that hat thing on, playing with a human. And this cat here, the stone cats on either side of the door, one of them has animated as Luke got close and is saying you can't pass. As it says it. Akhenaten's sleeping den cannot be entered.
When was the notice of sleeping given?
Many, many years.
Well, you don't expect me to believe that Akhenaten has been sleeping for years.
He rests long until it is time for him to prowl all the world.
Have you checked with him?
He again looks over at his companion, who's still standing stock still. And no.
What's happening? Why are you still talking to it? Did you explain to it that cats are stupid and dogs are amazing and they should move and stop being in our way?
I'm using the Socratic method to get just there.
Oh, you need secretions. Huh? Let me chew on my toy a little bit. I'll get you some.
I understood that cats were empiricists. I did not believe anything was asleep until it had checked.
It looks over towards that human figure in the alcove. The feeder has not come to fill his dish. He is not awake.
Well, if you don't check, he's neither awake nor asleep, is he? Because you don't know.
What are you doing, Czar?
Czar is going to walk over towards the body and just kind of look at it.
As you move over to it and kind of sniff it and look at it, this is clearly no longer alive. The smell of like dusty age is on it. Its eyes are closed, but they're sunken back. Its skin is all tight and brown. It looks more like jerky than person anymore. The thought, well, you haven't really heard what the cat said, but the thought that it's going to get up and feed anybody seems unlikely, as far as you know. Meanwhile, we've seen Fanuku come in, and he has gone over towards these pictures of dogs playing with this human on the walls. And you see him sort of, Ankhaten, and he's shaking and then falls over into a dead faint.
What was he saying? Ankhaten?
Ankhaten, the name of the cat that the evil cat. Y'all have heard that. And so he's collapsed over to the side. Does anybody go over to check him?
Yeah, if Luke doesn't want to, I will.
Yeah, go for it. I'm still watching these cats.
Yeah.
You go over and kind of nose him, and he's shaking and in fear. And as you nose him, his eyes open. He says, I was here. I was here. I fought him.
You are here.
I was here before now. Not me, but it was me. I fought him. I killed him. And my human. And he looks up towards that picture. Put him here. And put me here. He looks back towards that door. I'm here. And there. And he's just shaking. He looks terrified.
I don't know, but I know you cannot be in two places at once. So are you here or are you there? Because you look like you're here.
I'm here. I'm here. And she sort of stands himself back up, but he looks, his tail, even though it's got that curl over, has sunk down, and he looks frightened. Luke, you're right there in front of this cat, not far from it, as it's been growling and mewling to Iden. What do? Are you staying there? You waiting for Iden to finish growling and mewling at it?
Yeah, I'm standing there. I've very much got my haunches up, and I say, tell them if they don't move, I'm gonna take them down, just like those ones out in the hallway. I've got more peeing left to do. You tell them. Tell them.
I think Luke is right. You are clearly very hierarchical. Oh, dear cats. Clearly, great respecters of hierarchy and authority. Very dutiful and obedient. I understand now that, as Luke says, you are on Cotton's betas and responsible for doing whatever it is that he tells you. It is the way that cats are known to be. Respectful, obedient, submissive even.
Cotton is greatest of all cats.
He is the alpha, the one that you submit yourselves to in pure obedience, so that he eats first and most, taking the choicest treats. That is the cat way, to give up things for the alpha.
Why don't we have you do an animal magnetism? It sounds like you're trying to manipulate this cat a bit.
The black die was a 9 and the orange die was a 7, and I forgot to call which one was highest, but either way, I have a 60-something in animal magnetism, so it is well over 130.
Oh. This cat statue sort of arches its back. I eat when I wish to eat. And it cracks the sound of the grinding stones as it steps off of its little pedestal. It's going to move right beside you, Luke, as it walks down the dais. Do you let it walk by you?
Is this an Idon? Do I fight it now? Are we fighting? I'm fighting. I'm gonna fight it now. Yeah, fighting.
What?
He's clearly about to go do obeisance to Ankaten, who is his master in all things.
Ew.
And better
Cat
and
master
deserving.
stuff.
And better and most deserving.
Bentley says he has no master. This cat has a master?
Well, yes. Much as Bentley does.
This cat is... And it walks by you, Luke, and as it does, its stone tail rubs up and down your side.
I sort of jump and twist and bite at it.
Oh, do you bite at it?
At its tail, yeah. Brushing up against me.
All right. Why don't you roll me a brawn then as you attempt to bite it? I will roll a dodge in opposition.
Where are we? There's the thing. Reload. I rolled a 2. So that's a 57.
Well, it rolled a 7. Well, it rolled a 27. 27, making it a 77. So you bite at it, and it sort of moves its tail to the side as you miss. But it ignores you as it moves past. And goes over to one of those urns with the dusty smell of fish and knocks it over. And you see spilling out is this... They were dried fish. Now it's mostly dust and bones. And as it drops this over, I eat when I wish. And it moves its stony mouth down and bites at this dusty fish.
Oh, has Ankaten already taken the best fish and given you the leftovers that you may nibble at?
It looks back at you. These are the finest fish. from the great river. These are to feed on cotton and me. But you also probably notice as this thing moves over that figure, that human figure in the alcove, sort of its head rises up and those sunken eyes open, and inside there's just like the withered remains of eyeballs.
Ah!
It starts to stand up. What do you do? Well, let's say Czar, what do you do when you see that figure rising that you'd gone over and you were certain it was not alive?
Zar's going to stand up and face, try and step in front of Fanuku. And say, "Urgh. That thing shouldn't be moving, or that person shouldn't be moving. What'd you do, Idon?"
I think the cat did something. I think that it may be upset with a cat. I'm going to see if I can keep the cat distracted.
All right. What do you do, Idon, to keep this cat distracted?
Well, of course, the master always tells you that you have a delicious scrap.
Why don't we roll another one of those animal magnetism, see how you're doing?
Black high, that is 63 plus 65.
Ooh.
So 128. So
It turns around and has turned its back to that figure and is looking at you. You know nothing, dog. I was the most favored of Aten. I was a kitten of the great king. And it sort of preens a little for you.
The alpha whose obedience, who you are obedient to, always tells you you're their favorite.
Dog, you make me angry.
I think the situation is making you angry, not me.
Oh, wow.
As they're mewling grossly back and forth at each other, I'm really not sure what I think about Idon knowing this much cat. I mean, I thought he maybe knew, like, hello, get off that, where is a bone? But he seems to be going into philosophy or something. Anyways, I'm following along around behind this cat to make sure that it's not doing anything nasty. But I also am excitable and have a very happy tale. So I think as I'm going by, various and sundry other urns and stuff are getting knocked down. But it may be unclear unless you're paying attention which of the two of us is doing it. It's definitely Luke. Or Luke's tail. He calls it Taily. It's a very separate person. It's hard to control. They have an intimate person. Look, I'll get into it later.
I imagine you and Taylor get into chase matches on occasion.
He thinks he's faster than me, but he's not.
As you're walking by and you knock over one of these urns, and it falls over and out spills that sort of dusty fish, but also rolls out a ball about that big.
Ball?
It's made of metal, but wrapped in leather, and the leather is held up pretty well.
It tastes weird.
As it rolls out, it goes tinky, 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 of some sort of little bell inside of it.
Ball with a bell in it.
At the cat that hadn't moved at all, the stone cat next to the door, its head goes looking straight to it. And the one that had been paying attention to you, Idon, kind of looks over towards it as well. At the same time, that human figure stands up from its alcove and steps out. You're over there defending Fanuku, Czar. Do you? What do you do?
I have to do. Can my blood curdling bark, is that a thing I can do, or does that have to be along with some other roll?
No, I think you can. Let's see. What is it?
It activates on a roll of 70 plus on a brawn check.
So yeah, you can do a brawn check. Yeah. Yeah, so you can just go ahead and do it.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to start barking at the thing that's moving. But no, that's only a 19 on the dice, so that's a total of 104.
Oh, wow. So still, very good roll. As you begin barking, the cats will look towards you and kind of start a moment. The rest of the pack, you hear Czar start this. I mean, it's probably a deep barrel. Yeah. Yeah. That human figure, though, doesn't seem to pay any attention to it itself as it steps out. But both of you, Luke and Idon, see him barking, and whether you've noticed it before or not, this human figure stepping out.
Stepping out of, I'm sorry.
A little alcove. It was kind of sitting
gotcha.
in a little alcove, and it's stepping out of that now. The cat's looking over at you. What? Why is that dog barking at us? Bad dog. And you recognize that in cat, Czar. You've heard Bentley say that many times before.
I'll start barking at the cat too. I am not a bad dog.
And they're both, they both have kind of back from you. As this human figure moves over, and Idon, you could see over the top of the cat, you're looking as it moves over, and it leans down, and dust kind of pours from its mouth as this hollow shoo, scat, as the cat looks back at it and scuttles to the side. It leans down, picks up some of the fish. What you doing, Ida?
I am trying not to urinate on things. Submissively.
How about you, Luke? You're pretty close to it.
Well, I mean, I would. I have that whole, guard dog part of my nature in me, and I totally would get in there and guard people from things. But there was this ball with a bell in it, and now it's in my mouth, and I'm, death shaking it, and it's making noises, and it's all pretty amazing, and it's not my fault, but it's really rather distracting.
So, ching, 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 ching,
ding, 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 ding. Just shaking all over back and forth. Yeah, a lot of that.
So the word "shoo" was aimed at the cat, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The cat has moved back from where this human is picking up the fish, and looks, it's moved away from it. Akhenaten must be woke. The feeder moves to feed him.
I bark at it. Shoo! Shoo! And I get out of the way of the door.
It scurries away into a corner. The one next to the door is kind of crouched back from Czar's barks. As this human slowly turns and begins just creaky walking up the pedestal and towards the door. As it yes?
I get right behind the human.
All right. You come right up to behind its heels.
Yep.
And as it reaches the door, it lays its hand forward onto kind of the cat's, or its ears and that hat are, and pets the image on the door. And the door, click, and begins to open. From inside, that smell of cat pee grows extremely strong. As through the crack that's opened, the human goes through. Are you following?
Oh, I'm trying to get right in there. I'm also trying to knock the door further open as I do.
All right. As you shoulder it to the side, and this human figure walks in, inside suddenly, out of these braziers, fire leaps up, and it's suddenly very, very bright in there. Inside of this room, looking around, Iden, you can see that there are everything's covered in sand, light sand and dust, but there are tables like the humans have, and sitting on top of them, you can see there are statues of cats, of dogs, even of a couple of what looked like lions, and there's, I don't know if you've seen an elephant, but all of them in metal. Also, lying all over the floor, you can see that there are tons, just oodles of little balls with feathers attached, little balls with bells attached. And as the human moves through, he kicks them out of his way, and they roll, their feathers flapping, or ching, 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 as the bells ring. And you can see sitting on a kind of plinth, little thing, a dog. Only it is long, long dead. Its skin has crumpled in on itself, desiccated, and on its head is that same big hat of all the dogs you've seen in the picture. Beside it, there is another door. It is plain, completely plain, stone, and the human seems to be walking over to it. As this door had opened next to you there, Czar, Finuku had gone, that is where I was. That is where I am but not am.
Then we should go there. You, come on, I'll keep you safe.
And so as you begin moving up, Finuku follows him behind you. What are you doing, Luke?
Well, I mean, I have the ball, and it's jingling, and it's very distracting. But then there was a lot of barking, and there's like this bad cat smell, and now everyone's gone. But I do have this vague sense memory that a human just opened a door, and so that's very important. So I go trotting off towards the door to follow them all. But then I remember there's Crypt Lord Randolfo. So I have to run back and pick up Crypt Lord Randolfo, which of course means I drop the ball. But then I remember there's the bones. I have to go and pick up the bone, which means I drop. Well, you see where this is going. Anyways, there's a lot of like making it halfway across the room, remembering something, going back and scrambling before I think I managed to stuff both the ball and Randolfo in my mouth, and I'm sort of nosing the bone along the ground as I finally make it up to the door a couple of minutes later to see what's going on in there.
All right.
But I am fully prepared.
I'm going to have you roll a hustle, because as the human has gone in and your companions have gone in, these stone cats have arched their backs and are watching you all by yourself.
Oh, I don't see why you say that so threateningly. It seemed mean. That's 49 plus 40 is 89.
As you get up to where the dais leading up to the door is, the cat that had been cowering from Czar next to the door sort of arches its back and slinks over towards you. You look back behind you and you see the one that had moved away is down in full stalk mode and is moving towards you and leaps. I think we're going to have a brawl here as one of those cats comes leaping at you.
I try to give a very threatening bark to get him to stand back, but it's all muffled and garbled and just doesn't come out right. Brawn, you said?
Yes, sir. And we'll be rolling a pose there. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Roll a dodge. I'm so sorry. Yes, because I'm getting the drop on you there.
Oh, bother.
Oh, dear. I've rolled 100.
I rolled a 45.
Perhaps because you weren't expecting it and you were looking more towards the one at the door. That one behind you leaps towards you and sinks its stone claws into your haunches as it bites into your back. With a 100, he's going to do double damage.
Ugh.
And so you're going to take 12 points of damage. As this stone cat lands solidly on your back, biting into you. What does it sound like when this happens?
I believe it sounds like rare jingle, clink, clink, and
switch.
And then a lot of.
All right, Czar, behind you, you hear Luke bark out in pain and surprise.
Yeah, immediately he'll, Fanuku, stay here, and he'll come bounding back through, back towards the door. Luke!
As you come through the door, you could see one of these cats stalking towards him and the other one on his back, biting into him. What do you wish to do?
I am going to rush the one that's on him.
All right.
Bad cat, eyeball, get off!
Roll me a brawn as you jump into attack. I'll be rolling a dodge.
10 is a 0, so I rolled a 1.
Oh. You leap for him. He failed his dodge, but that's going to be a stalemate. As you leap on him, and you kind of skitter off the back of it down this stone cat and land to the other side, probably knocking Luke off of his feet, so that now this cat has him down on the ground. Ivan, what are you doing?
For the fight break out, I keep my eye on the human. But I go over to that mummified dog. And everything else has gotten up. So I'm going to see if the dog will get up and help us. So I do all the things that dogs do when they want to wake up another dog, other than bite them.
So sniffing and nuzzling?
Sniffing and nuzzling, focusing on, posturing so that my head is lower than his head.
As you're doing this, Fanuku has also come up beside you, and he's just staring straight at the dog. And I think I'm going to have you roll an animal magnetism again.
That is 149.
Oh my, that is phenomenal. This dog on its pedestal, this ancient creature, just sort of moves slightly, lowering itself to where its head goes down to its paws and sort of gives a little shake as that hat thing on it falls to the ground at your paws. And then it just seems to go motionless. Fanuku is still just staring at the dog. Luke, you got this cat on your back. What are you doing?
Well, I mean, we saw that they were sort of fragile before, so I'm trying to roll it around and tumble with it and get it to knock into something and, you know, break it. Because it's a bad cat, and that's my ball.
I agree with you. That is terrible. So why don't you roll a brawl or a brawn? I'm sorry.
Oh, come on. Nope.
It's still
So,
managing
like,
to run.
93.
Oh, so close. But it's still managing to keep itself moving, so it's staying on top of you. The other cat, Stone Cat, leaps over to where you have kind of skidded off there, Czar, and he's attempting to bite at you. You can roll me a dodge, as I'll roll a brawn to try and hit you.
Alrighty. Let's see how I can dodge. See, with that mighty dodge, that's going to be a 48.
The cat, though, as it leaps across, even with not the best of dodges, its claws, you still manage to move back from it, as it does not connect. But it is in front of you, squaring off with you. You may make an action of your own, Czar.
And just for the tricks, when it says that, like, roll 40 or more, that means on the dice it has to be that, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to take the hit and just kind of just growl at it and go back at it and try and get its neck.
All right. Let's roll a brawn.
Alrighty. Let's see if I can roll above a 10. Ooh, an 81 plus my 85 will be 166.
Ooh, he managed to actually roll a decent dodge, but you well beat it. So you say a 66?
166, yeah.
Yeah, 160. Okay. But on your die, what'd you roll?
81.
81. All right. So we go. There's our style and our effect die. So with yours, you've rolled a 1 for the damage, plus you are one size category higher. So you will damage it by 2 as you smash, grabbing it by its neck, chipping off some of it, but it's there against you. But since it attacked, you attacked, and you're the only one who caused damage, you now have top dog status in this dog pile. Meanwhile, Iden, you've seen this hat fall to the ground. What do you do? Oh, and the human has moved over to one of these tables. He's got his fish in his hand. And you see him put the fish in some sort of bowl.
I nudge under the other dog's chest. The just very gently, like, please get up, please wake up, please help. Cats.
It does not seem to move at all. Whatever force seemed to be compelling it seemed to have left it as that hat fell to the ground.
What does the dog look like?
Looks very much like Fanuku.
I look at Fanuku and it's just like, Fanuku, put on the hat. Put on the hat.
Looks at you, tears his eyes away from that mummified dog. Looks down at the hat and he it doesn't look like he's capable of putting it on. Would you like to try and help him?
Yes.
All right. Let's try that with an alertness.
No. All of 62.
Okay, so you've picked up the hat and you're trying to put it on Fanuku's head. Fanuku just won't sit still. He's moving his head around. So the two of you are struggling with doing that as the figure, the human, picks up the bowl and turns towards that door. Outside, Luke, you've been hurt kind of badly by this cat. What would you like to do? I think you're muted here.
I am muted. This is difficult. These are desperate times, lost alone in this cat-becursed pyramid hole in the ground, and we have to do dark things in these times. So, with a heavy weight on my soul, I bat at the rolling, jingling ball so that it goes under the cat's legs and out the other side to try and distract it so I could jump on it from behind.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think that's going to also be an alertness, which I just discovered. Rich made this wonderful character keeper. Do you know that if you put your the cursor over the traits, it actually gives a description of them?
Oh, nice.
Isn't that nice? So alertness, this is, using for tasks such as opening a door and all that sort of thing. So I think this is an alertness as you're trying to back this ball perfectly up underneath it to, distract this cat.
Ha-ha! I can roll something. It's a 148.
Oh, that's excellent. And so as you bat this ball, the cat above you, and it rolls, you feel that pressure on your back kind of decrease, and it goes, and goes, starts batting the ball around. Czar, what are you doing?
Since I have my cat by the stony neck, I guess, I'll say to Luke, "See, you got a bottle on the neck. That's how you go." And then just try and give it a shake.
All right. So we're in a full dog pile. So we're both rolling brawn, and we'll be going off of what our first number is to see which of us gets to go first.
Okay.
So I'm rolling. Ooh, you're probably going to get me. I rolled a 33, which won't even be a hit. And you have top dog, by the way, which gives you a +2 on your initiative for this.
Okay. So the first die I got will be a 5 then, because I got a 38 on the dice.
All right. And what does that give you as a total?
That would be one. Oh, jeez. Make me do math. 115, 123.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Then you're going to manage to get your damage in. What was that second die roll?
8.
8. Again, you're still bigger, so you're doing 9 points of damage as you definitely crack off a piece of its neck there, and Uh, as it cracks off, you could see where it kind of causes cracks to go across its shoulder, and this cat goes as you do so, and sort of staggering, but you still got a nice clamp on its neck. It's still moving, but it does not look nearly so confident as it did previously. Haydn, you're in there still trying to help Manuku put this hat on?
Yeah.
Let's see that alert just roll.
Hold your head down.
I'll give you a plus 10% for him trying to help you with this.
That's not going to help. Yeah, that's not going to help.
And so as you two are struggling with this hat, Fanuku's going, no, get it over my ears. The human has moved up to that door with this bowl, and you see him kneel in front of the door. His legs cracking dust and sort of falling from them as its skin is sort of cracks. You can see the bones poke through as it kneels down and lays the bowl in front of the door. Luke, you have a cat that is completely distracted over there playing with that ball. You also see Czar over there with one. He's got a pretty good grip on its neck, and it's starting to crack, and dust is falling off of it. What would you like to do?
I think it's probably going to be pack tactics. The one cat is distracted off there, and Czar's got the other one pinned down. So yeah, I'm going to go jump at the one Czar's got and try and leverage that to get him.
All right. Roll a brawn there. And tell me what your actual roll and its total is.
I got an 80 on the rolls. That's a 135.
Oh, that's fantastic. You will go before this cat has a chance to respond. And that's 10 points. You're also a large dog, aren't you?
Yes.
So that's 11 points of damage you're going to do.
Yes,
sir.
And I'm doing roughhousing damage, which I don't know what that means to a stone cat, but I bruise it up something good.
That's right. That's more like subdual damage, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. It did not manage to dodge, or at least not sufficiently to overcome your really good roll. And so that takes you to... yes. It lets out a... and you could feel it underneath your jaws, Sar, as it, even though being stone, it kind of goes limp. And seems to be putting its throat to you, surrender. Do you accept that? Or are you going to rip its stony throat out?
Czar will drop him. Just drop him and like pin himself on him. Go away, shoot, cat.
As you drop down on it, it's squirming underneath your paws, and it seems to be trying to scurry over into a corner, and it looks thoroughly cowed. Do you let it squirm away from you and go over to the corner?
Sure.
It squirms over there, and as it reaches the corner, it stops its motion and goes back to being a statue. Only now it's curled up under itself and looks completely, terrified. Its stony hackles rised, but looks totally defeated. And meanwhile, the other cat in the room swings its paw, and that ball goes ching, 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 all the way across the room, knocking some of the other little balls that are here to the side. And there's just this cacophony of balls rolling as they're bouncing around. I would like for both Luke and for Czar to roll me a canine compulsion to see if y'all decide to go chasing after these balls. Meanwhile, I'm going to... So y'all go ahead and roll that, and I'll come back to you to find out what you did. While I done, you see as that human has knelt, he's kneeling in front of the door, kind of lifts his head up. Good kitty, which is a phrase you've heard before when humans are debasing themselves to cats. What do you do?
Look, we've got to get this hat on you, Fanuku.
Last time I saw it.
All right, don't worry about it.
All right. Fanuku is going to kneel down and try to stay still.
Stay very still. Put your ears back.
I'm going to give you a plus 20% as he is doing this.
That is a 74, so that is good.
You set this thing on his head, and as you do, it seems to just form right around it. And it's got that kind of floppy thing to the side. And when it gets onto his head, where he had been seeming so scared, instead sits up, looks around.
Last time I saw it, it was...
John, I'm going to mute you real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was...
He sits up and his tail curls back over his back. And in, speaking to you in dog, of course, he says this, but it's got a different tone to it. It's rougher, older sounding. I am Akshut. Why am I here? Where is that cat?
And I got a pointer that I go into pointer position.
Pointing towards the door.
Yeah.
As you point on it, and we see the human, good kitty. That door, there's a sound, rumbly sound, as, it's an enormous human-sized door, but a space that broad, about that tall, slides up from the bottom, and you can see that where it's slid up, there is a silken curtain, and a breeze blows it out. You have seen these before. There are a few of these back home in England, or in your home range. Doors just for doggies, or for cats sometimes too, as the human slides that bowl through the silken curtain. Pulling back to Luke and to Czar, how did y'all do on your canine compulsion? Keep in mind also, if you choose, you can choose to fail and get an XP, but that's not really important at this point. How did y'all roll?
I got a 31.
I very predictably got a 104.
So, Czar, you managed to not fall to yours. But Luke, these balls rolling around. What do you do?
It's a mad dash. They're all going in different directions and making noise. So it's just like run over towards one, just sort of skid down with both paws out front, which knocks a bunch more out of the way. So I then go running after a couple of them, and it's just like pool around the room. Dog knocking into balls, knocking into other balls, knocking into dog, and just a circle until I sort of fall over in a pile with several.
I would like for you to roll me an animal magnetism real quick.
What do I have a terrible animal magnetism. 65.
Ooh, as you knock one of these balls and you're chasing it, you're paying so much attention to the balls. you hardly notice as a stone cat claw moves down and scoops your ball up and brings it to itself, and you're face to face with this stone cat over this ball as it goes. Czar, you have managed to avoid your canine desires, and you see this in front of you as Luke and that stone cat are facing off over this ball. What do you do?
Since I am not distracted by all the toys bouncing around, I see the cat going over to Luke, and I'm just gonna start like bounding right for it and just leap at it.
Excellent. Roll me a brawl. I'm going to give you plus 20 because that cat's distracted by both Ball and Luke. And again, give me the actual roll and your total.
Okay. My total roll was a 4.
I think though you still are going to get over 100.
Yeah, but with the plus 20, I'm at 109.
Unbelievably good. You are a tough doggy. Let's see, though. This is a chance that he might be able to dodge. Oh, he is going to be able to dodge with that. He will manage to get a 142 in his dodge. So at the last moment, as you leap, it kind of cuts its eyes across, sees you, and jumps back. Luke, it has left the ball for you.
That means I get the ball!
You pick up the ball as you see Czar sort of skid by you, knocking other balls to the side.
And as that cat's like knocked out of the way and off to the side, I do a little like victory trot in a circle right in front of it with my tail straight up and wagging.
All right. Iden, inside of there, you've seen the human slide that bowl through the little silken curtain. Beside you, Fanuku, who may not, Akenset, begins moving forward, but looks back at you. This Akhaden is behind this door.
That's where the human went. With the food for it.
He stalks forward confidently and moves through the little doggy door. And then you hear from within Fanuku, he doesn't bark. His breed doesn't bark. But you do hear this from him. And then inside you hear a cat voice. Oxet, I killed you once. I will kill you again.
And I start howling a long, complex howl that means stop playing with the cats and come help Fanuku.
All right.
It is a complex and communicative howl.
Are you following after Fanuku as well?
Oh, yeah.
So you head forward. That human who had slid the dish through, still kneeling. As you pass by it makes no motion, but you can still hear that faint whisper of, "Good kitty, good kitty." As you stick your head through, and I'll come back to you in a moment. Czar, you've skidded to the side. You see that cat has kind of jumped back, faced off with two pretty good-sized dogs, but you hear the howl of Iden saying, Fanuku's found the cat. Come on, this is, complex howl. What are you doing?
Czar, is the cat in the way of the door, or
no? You could certainly go on through and get into that other room. Now, whether it'll follow you or not, but yeah, you could leave it. That would be a hustle to see if you get away from it faster than it can do something.
No, Zar's gonna go after the cat that's right there. 'Cause it's
Don't
more
blame
important to
him.
play with this cat that's right here.
All right. So roll me a brawl as you a brawn as it and you go into a dog pile. You're gonna get it. I rolled a 98.
Okay, I got 66 on the dice, so that'd be 140, 151.
All right. You say 6 was your damage end?
Both.
All right.
Yeah.
66. Gotcha. So as you come in, it claws at you before you can get there, but it's so distracted and so kind of overwhelmed with everything that's going on. It's swinging wildly as you instead jump on it and grab into the back of it. You're going to do 6 plus your 1 for size, so 7 points damage. As Luke, you see Zar jump over at it, and this cat now is kind of in this dog pile fighting with him. What are you going to do?
Well, I sort of stop for a minute and cock my head to the side, and there's like that doing tip math in your head sort of look. Fanuku found a hat? I've always thought he'd look good in a hat. Zar, Fanuku found a hat. We have to go see Fanuku in his hat. Idon said that Fanuku found a hat. It would be the perfect accessory for the shape of his head.
And so are you going to tear off towards the door?
No, I'm there, and I'm like barking at Zar. Like, Zar, look, come. Zar.
Okay, just as soon as I'm done with this cat, I'll be right there. Just give me a moment.
So you're barking that question. Are you trying to convince him to leave the cat alone? And come? Are you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's like a pack sort of pull.
Okay, roll me an animal magnetism.
No.
It seems Zar is very much involved in this fight. I will give you the option here of you can move off over to where Iden has gone through this door if you wish, leaving him behind, or you could stay there barking.
Well, I mean, I'm going to stay here barking. Fashion accessories are very important, but so is pack. So I'm not going to just abandon Zar.
All right.
But I start speculating as to what shape I think the hat might be, and maybe how many layers it has, and if it has little doily patterns on it.
Iden, you have gone through this little silken doggy door, and as you stick your muzzle through and can see, inside of here it is brightly lit, but it's with this green light, and you can see that there are torches, on the walls that are burning with this green light, and the smell of cat and cat pee and cat dung is all around. And looking in this room, there are piles of where a cat has used these corners to go to the bathroom. And while they're old, like the kitty turds are all white and chalky looking, the smell is still tremendously bad. In the middle, there is this stone table, and standing on top of it, you see a cat. But its fur has been patched off. You could see dead skin beneath it. Pieces of its face have fallen off, so you can see all the way into its jaw. Its eyes glow with a baleful green. On its head is another one of these little hats. Also in this room, you can see there is a kind of a stand. It's like a little tripod stand. And on the tripod stand, there is this green ball, and it's glowing a little bit green. It looks like glass, and it's just sitting there glowing. Also around, you could see there are chests that are open, and inside of them are more of these, the goldeny metals, but there are toys all over this room that, a dog or a cat would enjoy, but no cat really deserves such lovely toys. You can see a golden rope. You can see that there is a ball that has other little balls attached with a golden string. You imagine if it was knocked around, all the little balls swirling. But Fanuku is there, and his hackles are raised, and you hear him say, "Ah, Cotton, you were a bad cat to our master, and soon you will be a dead cat." But evidence points to him having been a dead cat for quite some time. What would you like to do? You're muted, dear.
How close am I to that little ball? That thing with the other balls attached to it. How close am I to that?
Oh, you could easily scoot right over to it.
I want to grab that and shake it, and then do another howl and go, "Cat bones and balls."
Roll me an animal magnetism as you try and call your pack mates with that seductive call.
Oh, that's bad. No. 78.
Probably with the, now that you're inside the door, Luke and Zar, you could hear, Aiden give a howl, something like fat calls, maybe? But Zar, you are in this dog pile, and you're top dog at the moment. So roll, Braun, if you wish to continue on with it. Your first die will be your initiative die +2 because you're top dog.
So my first die is a 1.
But what is your total?
My total is 98.
Oh. This time around, you do not manage to get much on this cat. And so as you are fighting with it, it's falling back and it's just clawing in your direction. However, I rolled piss poor myself and did not manage to do any actual damage to you. Luke, what are you doing?
Be right there, Idon.
I really want to see that hat. And Zar's being all selfish, and he won't let anybody else have a piece of the cat. He wants the cat all to himself. He wants all the victory and all the playing to himself, and I don't get to see Fanuku in a hat, and I'm pretty sure Idon just said something about him looking fat in it, and that sounds really funny too. So I'm just going to go over, and we're going to bat that cat to the ground, and this is going to be over, and then we can leave and see the hat.
So you're hopping on to the cat as well.
Yes.
All right, roll your brawn.
Rolling. Hey, 116.
And is 6 your damage die?
I don't know. I rolled a 61.
61, it is not. All right. You jump onto its back, and you can hear it give a little bit of a crack as you do, and it swivels around to look at you. And you are now top dog in this dog pile. And I think I'm going to do one more round of our fight here with this cat, as inside of the tomb we're having a bit of posturing moment. So go ahead and as top dog, roll another brawn if you continue this fight, Luke.
All right, and this is still roughhousing.
Okay.
So I'm guessing it's like spider web cracks rather than pieces falling off. That's 116.
116. I'm afraid. Yes.
What? That's the exact same roll. 61. That's what I said before, right?
Yeah.
Let me try that again.
Yeah, reroll that.
All right, that's 109. 54 was my roll.
All right. You're both managing to hit. You can roll a dodge. He's going to try and roll a dodge. Remember what your second number was. That's your damage. Did you manage to dodge?
Oh, I actually did. That's 118 for 108 for dodge.
So 108 still, yes. So you will manage to dodge as its claws try and rake into you. You're hopping around. It did not manage to dodge you. And so you crack into it. What was that second die?
I rolled a 54 the first time.
All right. So Czar, this cat, you can see cracks showing on it, and it's it's looking like it's thinking the two of you are not such a good idea to fight. What would you like to do?
Yeah, Czar will just try and cow it again. Just try and pin it down or to knock it over by the other one.
Why don't we do your ferocious bark for that then?
Okay. Yeah, I got a 90 on the dice, so yes, I do my blood-curdling bark.
Excellent. All right, it's pulling back, and if you let it, it will slink over into the corner and statue again, kind of, but it goes statue-y again.
Okay, we can go now.
Hat!
The two of you bound up towards the door, and both of you enter into this room. As you see what I've described to Idon around, we see this cat, and this is the moment when Finuku and the cat leaps down towards Finuku, and Finuku rears up, growling to meet it. And we're going to take our break there as we prepare for our big battle in the tomb. All right, so back in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyone watching at home, I cannot make this hat lay down right.
So sorry about earlier. I was on my wife's computer and I didn't know which microphone it was pulling from. I thought I had it off.
Oh, it's no problem whatsoever. No problem at all. I'm realizing that we're having a. It's almost like a D&D battle. We're having so much fighting, but this game definitely has that kind of back and forth with it. It's there's a lot of hit and misses.
I think it's just because we're rolling so low. It's hard to get stuff done.
I'll say it takes a really low roll for you not to hit. You are really good. You're a tough dog. But I kind of like the back and forth of the dodge and attack. I don't play a whole lot of games anymore that really get into kind of granular combat. So occasionally it's a little refreshing. I don't know if it's something I'd want to do every day, all day, but it's kind of neat to see us having these battles. We're going to have this one's going to be kind of a tough little battle, but there's some neat stuff around that we can figure. There's some workarounds in it, but Al-Cotton is not a weak kitty. This is going to be quite a little fight. So we'll wait for Patrick to get back in just a moment, and we are at this is very much the culmination of our tomb delve, and I think we're still going to have plenty of time to come out and deal with the humans and our neatness at camp. So I think we're in good shape for time.
So do you know, was a dog made like for Kenzer, or somebody just like made it as like their own thing, like a fan project?
It was a fan project. It was first in Knights of Dinner Table, and someone decided then, well, heck, we've read about it. I'm going to make it. It's it's a small, simple game, but it's kind of cute, and I really appreciate when you see somebody that goes kind of like Hackmaster or something, where you go, all right, let's see what they've been doing. I think that's fun. Which, by the way, Hackmaster, not a bad game. All right, so we're going to be starting into a big scrum. So I'm going to give our description first of our meeting with these two, and then we'll start with what you guys are wanting to do. Because as Ankh-Hatan leaps towards Fanuku, and Fanuku rears up to meet him, his jaws extended, just as Ankh-Hatan gets within range and Fanuku leaps up to bite him, that kind of glowing green ball of the tripod gives off a green flash, and Ankh-Hatan disappears from in front of Fanuku. Fanuku's jaws clamp on nothing, and right behind Fanuku, we see Ankh-Hatan appear. and it's like he's a bit bigger, glowing green, as he jumps up and claws into the back of Fanuku. I'm going to do just a real quick roll to see how he did, and a quick for Fanuku. There we go. As he claws into Fanuku and claws down his side, and blood shines out from him and slashes into him. And Fanuku kind of makes his doggy yelp of pain. So I'm going to go. You've been there. You've got this ball in your mouth, and it is a fun ball. All the little extra balls as you shake it, go biggy, biggy, big, big, big around it. It's a great ball. What do you do?
You know what looks like more fun? The hat on Akhenaten's head.
Mm.
So now that Luke and Zara are here, I'm going to try to grab that hat off Akhenaten's head.
Excellent. All right. I'm going to say that it looks to me like that will either be alertness, try and grab it, or I think it's going to be alertness. I think alertness is how that ends up working. So roll us an alertness roll. I'm not going to have it opposed, but I am going to say it's difficult. So I'm going to put that as a -20.
Okay, yeah, that's 65. So,
all right. As you leap over to grab at it, the cat moves to the side. Not too slow, doggy, he says. Luke, what are you doing?
And what did you say flashed green in here?
Yes. A quick description again. We had the kind of table, the reclining space where Akhenaten was laying on. We have a tripod with a glass ball sitting in it that's glowing green. It flashed when he did that disappear and reappear. We also have some chests with that shiny golden metal in it. Plus, there are toys all over this room. Beautiful, wonderful toys that no cat deserves. Golden tug toy, balls.
Cats don't even know how to tug. That's ridiculous.
You see a golden stick with a chain, and at the bottom of it, there's ostrich feathers.
I mean, they can have that. That's just dumb feather stick. I don't even like those. But I'm realizing now, with all of this wealth everywhere, that all of my toys, including Crypt Lord Randolfo, are back in the other room with those evil cats who are probably going to pee on them or something. And who knows what stone cats pee? This is terrible. This is the worst. But there was that flashy ball thing, and that sounds sort of fun.
All right. You wanting to run over and knock down the tripod to get to it? I don't know. You're a very big dog.
Yes, I'm very tall. I'd like to go just see if I can grab the ball and sort of shake it off of whatever's holding it.
All right, then. I would like for you to roll a hustle to move across.
How big is this ball?
It's not huge. It's about the size of a grapefruit.
Okay, so big but not unmanageable.
Right. Certainly not for you.
What am I rolling?
You're rolling a hustle to see you getting across the room quickly and managing to get there before shit happens.
121.
Oh, that's fantastic. You get over there and kind of put your paws up on the tripod and lean in to put your mouth around the ball.
Yep.
As you do, it tastes horrible. This flavor of it. Now it's glass, so it's all smooth and everything. But
it makes my teeth feel weird.
Right, and it causes your jaw to sort of tingle and clench. It's going to do 3 points of damage to you. As it makes your jaw numb, and it's like biting into food that's gone bad, food that's gone to rot. But as you clamp your mouth around it, Akhenaten looks at you. No!
Well, tastes awful and is stingy, and I was gonna drop it and knock it over because it's bad. But then the cat told me not to bite it, and cats don't tell me what to fucking do.
All right, Czar, what are you doing?
There's a big cat to play with. I'm gonna go after the cat.
Excellent. All right, then. Roll. You're doing a brawl. This will be opposed by on Cotton. So first one will be initiative. Second one will be your damage, and then we'll compare to see. Oh shucks, you're gonna definitely beat him. I rolled a 17, which gives him a. He's a pretty good fighter, but that's not going to be enough. Yes. So he is not getting over 100.
Okay, so 65 was my roll.
65 is your roll, and your total?
So that'll be 150.
150. He can attempt to dodge that, but it's going to be very hard for him. He rolled an 83, but even with his 60, it's not enough to dodge you. So you have managed to hit him. What was your second die on the roll?
5.
5. You are large. He is, at this point, medium, so you get an extra one. So you do 6 points of damage to him, and you are top dog in this dog pile at the moment.
Okay, and just kind of push him down and big cat, big cat.
Fanuku turns around and tries to nip the cat there in that had injured him so badly, and he's bleeding pretty badly. And as he turns around to bite, Akhenaten, kind of distracted, bit by you, but it's kind of moved away from you, will slash straight across Fanuku's nose, and you see blood just spurt from his nose as he pulls back, and he's hurt again. And he don't look so great. I could hang on. Let me at least try and dodge for him real quick. He don't look so great. So it goes to you, Aiden. What are you doing? You're muted, my love.
I growl at the cat and try to take its helmet again.
All right. Rolling that alertness.
I also tell it looks very stupid in that hat.
Well, then how about this? Roll me an animal magnetism first to see if your insults manage to distract and make it a little easier for you.
I mean, sure. I mean, the human master that you serve would think you look, give you a hat and make you wear it, but you still look stupid in it. My animal magnetisms did not work that time.
Oh, he says, no human is my master. All right, so you're rolling that alertness again, and still minus 20.
Nope.
So you're circling around, nipping at this hat, but Akhenaten he's swift, he's quick, dodging out of your way. Czar, what are you doing?
If I know Idon wants to get the hat, I'm gonna try and tackle him to do my do some roughhousing with the cat.
Okay, excellent. All right, so roll your brawl, and let's see how we end up with that roughhousing.
So 28 are my dice.
Okay.
For a 113.
Oh, you are definitely going to get your attack off. He will try and dodge. He gets an 11, so he doesn't dodge you either. What was your second die?
8.
8. Excellent. So you're up by 1 as well. 9 more. I think let me have you roll a. Let's roll a hustle for you to see if you manage to, in this tackle, get him to where you in a position where that hat will be easier to get a hold of.
Okay. Say 46 on the dice for a total of 91.
You tackle him, but he still squirms off to the side. The hat kind of wiggles on his head, but he holds it firm. Luke, what are you doing? You've got this ball in your mouth.
Well, I'm definitely not retreating from this plan because, again, cats do not tell me what to do. But my association with Idon and all of these scholarly humans has taught me to think through problems empirically. And so I take sort of a look at my situation again, and it's one of those moments where the world sort of shifts and refocuses into a new shape, where suddenly, rather than shiny ball hanging from nonsense human stuff, you said it's hanging from a tripod, and a tripod, I realized suddenly, is nothing but 3 sticks tied together. And God damn it, I know sticks almost as well as I know balls. So I drop the ball and I grab one of the sticks, because that'll be much easier to carry around and shake and sort of lord in front of the cat that I have his toy and he can't have it back.
All right. Why don't you roll me a brawn to see if you can lift up this whole tripod, and you're saying you're going to go with it, right?
It's a larger, slower version of my, like, circular prance in front of the cats in the other room.
But you are kind of tossing it back and forth.
Oh,
in your
yeah,
mouth
yeah,
to
yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, roll that brawn. This isn't a pose. This is just a test. I am going to say it's a -10, though. This is a heavy tripod.
All right, so that's it would be 117.
Woo! All right. You get you release the ball, and it's all slick with your slobber as it falls down, hanging in the thing, and reach down, grab the tripod, and lift it up. It's heavy, but you're a big dog, good dog, and you sort of trot around, moving it to side, and you see Cotton go, meow, meow, as you swing it, and that glass ball hits the edge of that thing he was laying on. And as it hits, a green flash happens, and you see a crack go across that glass ball. And Cotton, who had, was glowing green and looking big, that glow kind of diminishes, and he gets smaller.
Well, that all sounds real technical, but I notice a cat who's mad at what I'm doing, so I'm obviously going to continue it.
Excellent. Manuku is looking really hurt, but is determined to bite this cat, and so we'll attempt once more. Ooh, he rolled pretty good that time. He will bite, and he bites into Cotton, who is distracted by all that's going on with his favorite ball, and you see Fanuku bites solidly into this cat's shoulder. And as he does, he rips, and a piece of that skin, the whole flesh, dried out flesh of that cat, pulls away, and dust is there, and its skeleton is kind of glowing green underneath it as the cat, meow, and he takes some more damage. All right. What are you doing?
Where's that green glowing ball?
Currently, it is hanging from some threads on a tripod, and Luke is going with it and prancing around pleased.
How high is it?
Well, Luke's pretty tall, so it's might be all the way up like 5.5 feet in the air.
No. I do my best to be a good jumper.
All right. What you trying to do?
I'm going to bound off Luke's head because he's sturdy and get that green glowing ball.
All right.
And knock it to the ground.
All right. Let's have you roll a hustle for that.
No.
you leap up, but, Luke's enjoying slinging it back and forth, and just as you come up to bite it, he moves his head to the other way, and you sail over the top.
I do think there, as he comes in, I see that jumping at it. There's sort of that, something in your mouth growl, and I do the, paws down, head down a little bit, play bow, okay, we're in this now.
Do you do the thing of lowering it down so y'all can tug at it?
Yeah. I'm down.
So now he's dropped it down where the two of you, it's now between you, Aiden, and him. So I'll go to you, Luke. You see he's wanted to tug with it. Do you move it over there to him?
Well, no. I mean, it's obviously mine, and he can't have it. But I'm just swinging it around near him to show him how much he can't have it. And oh no, it just fell right into his mouth. What unfortunate timing there.
Well, then let's roll an alertness alert to see if you could put it right there into his mouth there for you to tug on. No,
that's 70.
You swing it back and forth in front of him.
I am too mighty. You cannot catch my stick.
Czar, you're in a dog pile, but you're top dog in it. Well, you and Fanuku are top dog in it for the moment. Do you wish to continue the dog fight?
Yes, you said the bones were exposed. Some of the bones.
Yes.
The cat bones. I was supposed to get cat bones.
Excellent. All right,
So,
then. So it's top dog. Your initiative's going to be 2 higher. So your first die, add 2 to it for your initiative set. And go ahead and roll brawn. I'm going to roll for my kitty.
Okay, 72 on the dice.
Excellent.
So
you will be going first. The cat will be hitting. You'll have a chance to dodge that, and you're also hitting. But I'm going to roll real quick to see if Unc Hutton can dodge you. He is a pretty good dodger, but not that good a dodger, unfortunately. So yes, you're going to bite.
Yes. So it'll be 2 points of damage.
+1 for your size.
So, yes.
Actually, he shrank down to small, so 2 points for your size. So that takes you. All right. And but he, as you bite him, he's going to latch on to your ear very painfully. You may roll to dodge that.
Alrighty.
You're going to have to try and overcome a 112.
Oh, I got an 88 on the dice, so with my dodge, that's 128.
Oh, fantastic, because I was about to do one of my cool tricks for him if he'd have latched. So he bites at you, and you could feel its little, he has very blackened fangs, but you could feel it just skirt down the edge of your ear as he misses you, and he howls into your ear, "Dog, I will chew your innards."
No, I'm going to chew your bones.
And as you had bitten into, trying to go for that bone, there had been a crack. And as you pulled back, you could see where you did actually crack his bone open there. And he's kind of limping now. That ball that is in between you, Iden, and Luke is sort of glowing. As, with that a little bit of a flash as he rips that bone out of him. And let's see, he's done his thing. So it goes back to you, Iden. The ball is tantalizingly close, glowing in front of you.
And you're muted.
It's like dangling from a string, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go for the string and grab it and then pull.
All right. That's going to be an alertness. And he's helping you, so I'm giving you a +10. He wants you to play with him.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Oh,
Not for a 2.
Oh, poor Iden. Luke, it doesn't look like Iden really wants to play. What are you
Aiden's a very nice dog, but he often gets lost in his own head and his philosophating or whatever it is, and he focuses too much on the details and the small nothingnesses of things, and he doesn't understand just simple good dogginess. So I've got to do one more big circuit prance around, tail fully going, like growls and barks intermingled, so that he really gets how cool this game could be before I bring it back around to him. So it's another like head wagging trip through this room full of stuff, which may probably like hit it on more things.
All right, roll me a brawn.
I'm gonna get Luke. We're gonna help him out of his intellectual funk and into a nice playful mood. I'm Luke.
Okay.
Whatever. 55. Wow. 122.
Ooh, 122. And what was the original roll?
67.
Ooh, 67. As you smack this ball around and your tail is flopping, it knocks over one of these. There's, around the place that we've got these little urns and these chests with things. It knocks over one of these urns, and as the urn falls over, comes rolling out of the urn all of these little, they're balls, but as you smell them, they're some sort of jerky. They're like chewy bone balls as they roll out. And at that moment, you smack the green ball down to the ground, and it shatters with a huge green glow. Unc Houghton goes, "No!" And you see his form kind of, and it collapses to the ground. But you see, still standing there, this green, see-through, spectral cat that looks back towards the door. "My servant, I come." You are the only one who understands that, Aiden. As that green spectral cat goes and through the little silken door and swish out the way you all came.
So that all sounded like a bunch of technical mumbo jumbo. I didn't catch much of it. It was really in depth and sort of calculus-y, but I'm pretty sure you said jerky in the middle of there.
I did.
And so I'm definitely gonna roll around in that and start chewing on it and slobbering and rolling around in it. Did I mention rolling?
As you bite into one of these little jerky things, the outer air bit of it is kind of crumbly and not so great, but as soon as you bite into it, it is so tasty. So tasty good. It acts as a treat, which will heal you 5 hit points if you're down any.
Ooh.
And Fanuku, who is really badly hurt, kind of slumps down. He's bleeding. He looks in bad shape. What are you doing, Czar?
Fanuku's in bad shape?
Yeah, that cat really messed him up.
Okay. Yeah, Fanuku, are you okay? You need a ball or something, or a bone, or eat some of the jerky. You don't look great.
Do you grab him one of the jerky and bring it to him?
Yeah.
He kind of leans his head over, and as you drop it down to him, "Thank you. That's good, Czar. That's good." And he kind of struggles up to his feet, but he's limping, and there's blood running out of him. I mean, the first thought that probably all of you have is his master probably needs to get him taken care of. You probably were hurt at one point, Czar, some sort of accident, and you remember Higgins wrapping up your hurt and taking care of it.
Yeah, Fanuku, you need to go find your master. He'll help you.
I have no master.
Who feeds you?
I feed me.
Who helps you when you feel bad?
I help me in my pack. You're my pack.
Well, my person helps me. Maybe he'll help you too.
People. I never trust people. Iden, what are you doing?
I don't trust Higgins. So I go over and I start kind of checking out Fanuku's wounds.
You could see where the cat has scratched into him. Already they have that smell, the bad smell, the rot smell.
Oh, this is bad. I try to lick it off.
It tastes terrible. You can taste the infection as you try and clean it, licking him. And Fanuku, who's trying to move, his back legs aren't moving so good, and he's leaning into you. What are you doing, Luke?
I'm sort of prowling around in a circle. Like, there's all these toys, and I stop by with Fanuku, and he does not smell good, but I do some licking as well to help out. But you know, they're distracted looking after him, so I'm trying to keep a perimeter because damn it, there's going to be more cats, and they're the worst.
As you're walking around, those green lights, those fires, they're beginning to die down, and the room is getting darker. From the other room, you hear the sound of stone cracking. And it's like I say, it's getting dark in here. As you're prancing around looking at things, though, there's no doubt that the best toy in this thing is that golden tug toy, though. Oh my goodness, it is so nice.
It's I don't make a big thing about it. Fanuku's feeling bad, and I don't want to rub it in his face, but I do have that dangling from my mouth now because obviously.
All right. The three of you looking at Fanuku, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get out on his own. What do you want to do?
Well, he's not that big. I think Czar and I could probably sort of squeeze him between us and walk out and help him.
All right, y'all want to try and do that? All right. Why don't each of you roll me a brawn?
$92.
166.
Oh God!
All right. Luke, you've got your toy, and you've actually probably got two. You've got
I've got Crips Lord Randolfo, obviously,
and the tug toy. So you're a little distracted, but with Czar's help, you've kind of leveraged up Fanuku, and he's staggering between the two of you, heading out. Iden, as you're looking around this room, is there anything you wish to do?
I'm looking for anything that's not a toy. Like stuff that cats put on their paws to make them more evil.
Roll me an alertness.
It's my best skill.
All right.
No, it's not. My second worst.
How did you do? No?
No.
As you're kind of nosing through these things, you don't see anything like that, though you do see something that reminds you of your master is it Edward?
Edwin.
Edwin has been, when he's sitting in his tent with you and he lets you lay in his lap and will pet you. And he looks at pictures inside of a thing. He turns and there's many pictures in this thing, a book. You see a thing in one of these chests that looks almost exactly like one of the pictures that you've seen in his book. It's a black statue of a cat. It has around its neck that same necklace torque thing. You can see it has little sparkly rocks all over it, and it's got the gold bits around it. And you can remember Edwin looking at it, and he would pet you harder as he looked at it. He seemed fascinated by it.
I am taking that out in my mouth.
All right. And so the three of you begin heading back through. As you come into that other room, you see where those cats had been cowed as statues. Now they're nothing but dust and rubble. But that green glow from the walls is fading, and it's fading quickly. It's very dark in here. And above you, the ceiling is dropping down dust, and the rocks seem to be cracking. I'm going to have us each roll a hustle to see, as debris begins falling from the ceiling, how we do to avoid it. The two that are supporting Finuku will be rolling at -10. Idan, you will be rolling straight up.
I have 105.
Oh, you're dodging this rubble with no problem. How about you, Luke?
I got a 35.
Oh, Luke, one of these stones falls, slamming into your shoulder. 35. You take 5 points of damage from it.
How
about you, Zar?
105.
Even though they're kind of things, pebbles are bouncing off of you, that your fur and your good stature, nothing big enough to hurt you is hitting you. And you do see several of them hitting onto Finuku as he's between you and as they hit him. But you make your way back through the way you came, as it's clear this place is falling down around you. As you enter into that room where we had found the big bones, anybody going to pick up one of those tasty bones that we'd left here?
I can't.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, you're full. How about you, Zar?
I was going to ask if I could pick up the large bone that I had before.
Absolutely. You pick it up. And from that other room, the room that smelled of birds, you see walking out are these, tall, long-beaked, they're ibises for you guys, but you can see through them almost. They're there and not there as they're flapping their wings, strutting out the passage ahead of you. And as they reach, and you guys reach that crack that you came in from originally, they poke their heads through it, lift off, their wings flapping, and fly, kind of disappearing into the sky. Outside,
stupid birds.
Outside, the night has passed, and indeed the sky is getting this pinkish glow as you exit into the pit. Finuku, pretty much exhausted, can no longer stagger along even with your help, and there's no way short of dragging him, which perhaps you could try. He could get out of this pit. What are you guys going to do? Iden?
As much as I hate it, I think Zara should get Higgins.
What do you say, Zara, as he tells you that?
Okay.
All right.
Try to get to the camp as quickly as I can.
All right. Laying down Finuku as the two of you stand over it, you climb to the top of this pit. Luke, are you going with him, or are you staying here with Finuku? And I'm guessing
Zar's a big boy, and he can handle himself. And, like I said, Iden gets distracted by thoughts and thinking and stuff. So they need someone here to guard them.
I'm gonna dig a hole real quick near a rock. I'm gonna put the statue in a hole near the rock.
Excellent. All righty.
So that Higgins doesn't see it.
Cool.
It's
All
not
right.
for Higgins.
Not for Higgins. All right. Sorry, you're running across to this camp, and the first thing you notice is it's very quiet heading up towards the camp. And you're used to the humans as soon as the sky starts getting light, usually they're starting to move. And as you sniff over towards where the mini humans camp, sniffing over to there, they're not moving either. And all around, you're smelling that smell of sickness. But as you get up towards Higgins' tent and you stick your nose through, you see Higgins laying in his cot in his bed. And he is sweating. And you see where he's vomited some of that blackness onto the ground. And standing on top of his table where he has all of his toys where he makes his liquids, you see Bentley. His eyes, though, are glowing green. And you can see where he is moving Higgins' toys. He's playing with Higgins' toys. And in a very uncat-like way, he has picked up one of Higgins' liquids vials in his paws and is moving to the edge of the table towards Higgins. As you come in, he looks back. Bad dog!
I'll start barking at him and go and drop the bone over by Higgins and kind of pull on his hand.
Roll me a it's a human handle. Human handle, isn't it? Yeah, human handling.
Alrighty. Let's see, I got a 40 in that, so 53.
As you move over to Higgins, he leave down and kind of swats at you as Bentley he takes this liquid, and you see him kind of maneuver it so that he's got the top of it in his mouth. And he jumps down with this little, it's basically a test tube that he's holding in his mouth. Jumps down and
That's not yours. What are you doing? Bad cat.
And he scoots off. He starts running out of this tent. What do you do?
I'll let him run.
All right.
And just kind of go back to Higgins and try and get some reaction out of him.
All right. As you nuzzle on Higgins, he manages to he pets you, looks around, and he seems to be kind of struggling, trying to get out of the bed, maybe moving over towards his table. What would you like to do?
Try and does he notice the large bone I dropped in front of him?
Yeah, I think he will. He looks down. He touches it. But you can tell he's interested as he's he seems to be asking you something, but what are humans ever saying?
Since he's paying attention, I'll try and do again. I'll bark at him and try and get him to this way, over here. Obviously, come on, move.
He pulls himself out of the bed, and he reaches over to his table, and you see him pull one of his liquids, and he sips on it. and he starts following you, but he doesn't look good. Meanwhile, back at the pit, Iden and Luke, still with his hat on. Fanuku is, his breathing's getting shallow. You can see now that his wounds, those cat claw wounds, they have white infection kind of bubbling from them. As he looks at you, we'll say you, Luke. I never had a master. I was a free dog. What do you say?
I don't know.
And as he's laying there, he kind of slides into unconsciousness. Up on the ridge, you can hear someone approaching. And you see Czar kind of jumping around at the edge of the ridge as Higgins comes walking up and looking down. Iden, what do you do as you see Higgins? You're muted, I think.
I bark assertively because I know what Higgins needs to do. And I point at Fanuku, and then I walk around Fanuku and bark. And then I point at Fanuku, and then I point at Higgins.
Higgins looking down. Some stray. He brought me here.
As soon as he does that, I correct him very assertively.
Roll me a human handle.
No.
He
79.
Some stray. But as he's looking, and seems to be turning away, he notices the hat. What? He kind of gets on his hiney and slides down the sand. He comes over and he picks up the hat from on top of Fanuku's head.
And I
do anything.
Nudge him towards Fanuku. Like,
I'm gonna do the thing again, like where you have to be insistent with humans.
Right. Each of you can roll a human handle. What are you doing, Luke?
I don't know. Can I be helping them?
You can. I'll say. Why don't you both get a +10 as also Luke is there nuzzling at Fanuku, drawing attention to the dog.
It's a total of 58 for me.
Yeah, I know.
It seems Higgins is completely enraptured by the hat. And looks down at Fanuku. Yeah. And he seems to be walking away from Fanuku, whose breathing has grown more and more shallow.
Idon, Bentley had some medicine, I think. The doctor drank a thing, and Bentley had one. Maybe that would make Fanuku better. But I can't talk to him. Can you talk to him?
I'm gonna go hunting for Bentley.
All right. Luke?
I'm going to bark very threateningly at stupid Higgins as he starts to leave.
Ooh, all right. Do you have a trick that works in this, or is this a human?
I have the blood-curdling bark as well.
All right.
Which
roll me that.
Which Czar can't use on his master, but I can.
It's true.
No. I rolled a 2.
Oh, as you start growling at him, Timmons! Isn't that your master's name, Timmons? What is it?
Benny.
Benny. Benny. Benny. And he seems just at you. As you, Iden, have reached the top of this this pit, roll me a hustle to see if you're going to be able to find Bentley.
No.
Oh, the dice have decided to go harsh on us. As you're searching through the camp, Higgins has reached, he goes ahead and he climbs up to the top of the pit, and he's looking around, and I think y'all probably are noticing that he sees that the camp's gone very quiet. You hear him he barks loudly. And you see coming from his tent, Sir Brian, who is, looking a bit peaked, but is not so sickly he can't move. What are you doing, Czar? Did you follow your master up to the top of the thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell Luke to try and find Bentley. I know you have a good nose. I think.
Educated.
And yeah, I'll go back into the tent and see if I can see any of those vials anywhere.
Roll me an alertness. Luke, are you searching for Bentley?
Yeah, I'll start going around in circles and
Roll that educated nose.
do nothing.
Oh, the dice have gotten cold. How about you, Czar?
I got a 124.
Oh, excellent. Oh, excellent. As you kind of put your paws up on his table, you see the vial that Higgins had drank. You see the space where Bentley had carried one of these off, and you see another vial there in that same little holder for it. Do you wish to grab it?
I will try.
I think you could. I don't think it requires a roll for you to get over there and bite that and put it in your mouth. Meanwhile, Iden and Luke, you're circling through the camp trying to find Bentley. And not having much success. However, Iden, perhaps unfortunately, Bentley finds you. As you come around the tent, you are suddenly set upon by a fury of claws and teeth. Roll me a brawn as you go into a dog pile as Bentley is taking his vengeance on you.
No. Nope. 78.
Oh, Bentley, you can roll a dodge if you'd like.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to need a 137.
1 second. Let me do the math. But yeah, that's over 150.
Excellent. As Bentley leaps onto your back, you shrug and dodge to the side as Bentley looks at you. Stupid dog! You've ruined all of my plans!
Where's the vial?
You'll never find it! Luke, you're also hearing this caterwauling. Yes, I did.
They'll never find you.
Luke, do you come running over towards the sound?
Yeah.
And so you come around the corner to see Iden and oh shit, I can't believe I just forgot his name after just saying it 100 times.
Bentley.
Bentley, there we go. Faced off against each other. Bentley's eyes glowing that bit of green as he's what do you do?
Well, Bentley is a notoriously difficult cat, but I have developed certain subtle techniques for dealing with him, and slight ways of handling his delicate personality and changing his moods. So I'm going to come over and try and sit on him.
All right, so roll me a brawn.
That's a 126.
You will jump on him a 6. You're a large dog, so you get top dog. You're sitting on top of him. You were doing your roughhousing, or were you actually? And he, get off of me! Did you hear him say, "Get off of me, you stupid dog"? But he's roaring underneath you.
Is he telling you what you were asking him? Be nice.
You're muted, Rich.
Not yet. And I look at him and say, he will sit down harder, and then I will put my paws over your eyes, so you can't even see it as he sits down so hard.
All right.
Tell me where the vial is.
Roll me an animal magnetism, and I'm giving you plus 20 for your intimidation and Luke sitting on top of him.
That's a total of 135.
Let me go. Let me go. It's over there. It's over there. And he motions to where the humans have been throwing their debris and leftovers.
I go over to find it. Is it there?
You dig a moment, and there is that vial.
I come back and I look at him and I say, if you've done anything to this cat.
Yeah, no. It's the last of the medicines. If it goes away, Higgins, the hateful Higgins, he will be sick forever. What you do?
I give Luke a look. And I just say, you don't have to be nice to him anymore. And then I go scampering off back to Fanuku.
What do you do, Luke?
Well, I'd sort of gotten distracted because we were waiting for like a minute and a half, and that's a really long time. And so I was biting at a flea or something scratching. Well, I came up and said that, and I don't really... I sort of missed a lot of it, if I'm being honest. But I finished scratching up and then remember that there's a cat underneath me. And so I'll chase them around through some of the tents, because they're more fun when they're moving and you can get little chunks of their fur out as they're running along.
All right.
So I chase Bentley around and leave him with some patches of pulled fur.
As you nipping at his heels, Bentley trying to hide in the tents, and you're like knocking over tables, and tents are starting to drop as you're chasing him. Inside, the people are like, hey, as the tents are dropping. And finally, Bentley, realizing there's nowhere to hide in the camp, takes off into the desert as you behind him. But he soon disappears into the dunes. As you, Czar, and you, Aiden, get back to the pit, you see that Sir Brian, a much kinder-hearted person than Higgins, has gone down and picked up Fanuku and brought him to the top of the pit, and is sitting there petting on him, as probably because Sir Brian asked. Higgins is looking over his wounds, and you see him look at Sir Brian, Czar, as you arrive. Sir Brian's. Oh, good dog. Good dog. Because all dogs can recognize when a human says that. But you have this vial in your mouth, Czar.
Yeah, so I will take it over and like drop it beside Sir Brian, and like back up and kind of bark at them to get their attention.
Brian looks over at this and looks back at Higgins, and Higgins is looking at you. He's saying to you, "There's our bad dog." And Sir Brian says something to him as you arrive, Iden, and you have your vial with you as well. What do you do with your vial?
Is there like a cork in it?
There is.
And it looks almost exactly like Czar's vial, right?
It looks very, very similar. If anything, you think your vial is more full.
Mm. I take my vial and put it in Sir Brian's lap, and then paw at Finuku's mouth.
Roll me a human handle.
That is much better. It's a 147.
Excellent. Sir Brian says something to Higgins, and Higgins like, Sir Brian's like, and leans down and pours the vial into Finuku's mouth. And you see Higgins go, the dog. Sir Brian's like, and as he drains this, and Finuku kind of coughs, but you see his breathing start going easier. Sir Brian begins stroking his coat. He lifts up Finuku and starts heading back towards the tent as Higgins reaches down for the vial that you have brought Czar, and he starts following behind him. And so I think we're going to end our session as Sir Brian brings Finuku back to his tent and begins to take care of him. With Bentley off into the desert, and who can tell what will happen to him in the open desert. Higgins begins to treat the people here, and their sickness seems not nearly so terrible. Benny recovers soon and is happy to have you, Luke, there with him, and you have your golden shoe toy. Do you play with him with it? Do you bring it to him to play? You're muted.
Yeah, I have sort of complicated emotional relations with Crypt Lord Randolfo right now. We're sort of not on speaking terms. He's actually gotten a little dry recently because I haven't been playing with him that much. So, yeah, I need something to make Benny feel better. So I do. I take the golden pull toy to him so that, he can start to get his feet back under him and get a proper mood on.
As you tug with him, and he's ruffling your ears, and you're growling, and he, good dog, good dog.
I am a good dog.
It takes him a few moments to realize this tug toy is golden. And as he's pulling, and, because you're a good sport, you occasionally let him, win.
Well, it doesn't do to totally demoralize him. You have to keep him in the game.
He sort of looks at it. Looks back at you.
Pant, wag.
Good Luke! Good Luke! And he reaches over and pulls out of his chest one of the specialist of treats, one of his own sets of jerky.
People food.
And
it's
hands
always
it to
nice
you.
to be told "Good Luke" by Benny, because he's the only one that pronounces the spelling right.
As he hands it to you, you wag your tail as he takes your golden. He does take your golden chew toy.
He's been sick. I can let him borrow it for a while. I'll dig it back out later.
So I think we're going to get to epilogues here. I'll start with you, Richard. What is your epilogue?
So, I think that evening, after waiting very, very intently to make sure that Sir Brian is not trying to domesticate Finuku, because I will have sharp, sharp words to anyone who tries to domesticate Finuku. I sneak into Luke and Benny's tent while Luke is having that dream.
You know the one.
And I put the idol that I hid underneath the foot of Benny's bed.
Oh.
So that Edwin can't get it.
Excellent. Luke, what is our epilogue for you?
I think it's a couple days later. The expedition has got its feet back under it. People have gone in and gone back into the expedition there, or the excavation there. There's been a lot of yelling, a lot of really baseless bad dogs, and a lot of arguing back about how I have done nothing in the last 30 minutes that could possibly be called bad dogs, so I don't understand what you're saying. But that all eventually blew over. They seem sort of, I don't know. They pointed at dog prints on the ground a lot. They have some broken cat pieces that they shove under our noses like that means something. Humans are weird. They're just weird. But it's a couple days later and things have sort of died down. It's the sun's going down. Benny's laid down in his cot and he's reading his book. And so while he's not looking, I sort of go over to the corner and I very quietly grab and pick up my metal food bowl so that it doesn't rattle too much. And I go out to a sort of rise on the edge of camp and set it down next to Finuku. And, we share a little kibble there at the sunset as we're staring off into the dunes.
Oh, that's beautiful. And Czar, an epilogue for you, sir?
So it's almost immediately after we get back. Higgins kind of walks away from the camp for a little bit, looking for and is calling out for Bentley. And I'm just kind of standing beside him, following him around like he always does when he's going to visit the patients and everything. And it goes on for a while, but eventually he kind of gives up and walks back to his tent, and he gets to work on more of the medicine. And Czar goes up and sits beside him, and he reaches down and pets his head, and for the first time ever, Higgins says, "Good dog."
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's wonderful. And for the last scene, Sir Brian, having discovered a few things, perhaps enough to save his family, the expedition begins to head back in. And as they're packing up and everyone's leaving, you hear him whistle, and you see Finuku kind of silhouetted against the sky. And as he whistles and he's calling to him, Finuku turns and trots off into the desert. And that is our game of dog. I hope y'all had fun. I would like to do a real quick Roses and Thorns because part of it because I like the feedback, and part of it because this was the first game I ever played in Gauntlet, and Rich Rogers was our GM, and he is a strong proponent of Roses and Thorns, and I believe in it too. I've learned things from it. So I'd love to hear a little Roses and Thorns if we've got just a few minutes. We will start with Thorns, and then we'll have our upbeat Roses after that. And I'll start with my Thorns, and then we'll go down. This game has a big swing in it, in that it's hard to make your rolls a lot of times. It is not an easy game. We had, there's some, you can focus your dog to where there's something they're good at, but it's really hard to, and if you fail, it's hard to come back from. It really has a hard curve on it. Along with that, I somewhat think that I got us embroiled in a whole bunch of battles. I like doing battles, but maybe I went a little too long on some of them. Maybe we could have done without 2 sets of stone cats. Maybe I should have pushed us into a more interesting spot instead of one of those cat fights. And, looking back, it's always, 2020. But maybe I could have done a little better job of having something to shake that up. Other than that, I'm pretty pleased with the system for what or the game for what it does. I think that, you're trying to be real dogs, and it wants to do that. But that's my Thorns, and most of them are for me. The game is what it is, but most of that would be for me for not maybe shaking up kind of what we did with it. Richard, would you care to give us a Thorn? Any Thorns you have?
I don't have any Thorns. I really enjoyed it. So.
Excellent. Patrick, any Thorns?
Just about the system, like you were talking about, the swinginess and the really hard points in there. I found myself missing throughout it some sort of resource or spendable mechanic or pushing mechanic where you can say as a player, this is a roll that really needs to happen. I would have liked something to be able to spin to push that mechanically and force it a little bit.
I hear you.
As far as me personally, I really enjoy this game. It's just a very hard genre for me to play, because I'm fine with doing horrible, awful things to human NPCs and stuff, and just the worst, most evil, twisted takedowns of people. But anything with animals really, really gets to me. So the last third of this session in particular, where it swung really sad, really fast, it's just a problem. I completely disengage from the story and role playing in those sort of situations, and I feel really bad about it because I'm not helping anything move forward, and I feel like I'm putting a bad energy out. But that sort of stuff just with animals completely takes me out of it.
I know, and I understand, and I actually knew that coming in. I wanted the kind of pathos that we had with Finuku there. A series of really horrible rolls made it worse.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was. It was the two compounding on top of each other of there is the problem, then I don't know exactly how to address the problem because we're dogs, and dogs are not good at field medicine. And then on top of that, everything we tried to do was just getting worse and worse and worse.
Mm-hmm. I understand. And I hear that exactly. And I do think the game might benefit from something like a spendable resource, especially considering how hard it is to make rolls.
Mm-hmm.
John, any thorns?
Just to echo what you were saying about the system, is the combat seemed to take a little bit too long, and I know that was partially my fault for staying in the combat too. But being the guard dog, it's and also just the stats thing, the whole, as a guard dog that's a purebred, you start with a 60 in the brawn, and then it automatically gives you a plus 15. So I started with a 75 and said, I'll put a few advantage, and I ended up with that 85, which made me really good at that. But everything else was not as, so it ended up being a little bit imbalanced, and that's probably why I favored fighting more than would have been effective in another game. Which personal thorn is something I tend to do in games, so but that would be the only thing.
Okay, and I definitely hear that, and I think we all are kind of echoing that the system is not exactly point on. But let's do some roses. Let's talk some good things about it. John, why don't you start us off with some roses?
Okay.
And roses are, the system, the game, how it was run, and your fellow players.
Yeah. Patrick playing Luke, both weeks, everything he did, just funny, on point, instantly made me think of something that a dog would do. Just great job all over there. Idon was really entertaining as well as Fanuku from last week. And thank you for running the game. I think you did a great job, especially the temple descriptions. They really were a good evocative, describing the areas and things like that.
Thank you very much. Patrick, roses?
I did really enjoy this game, and I enjoy this, like the system, the game, more than I have problems with it. Much more than I have problems with it. As much as I may pick out particular mechanical gripes, I have to acknowledge that, like, this game and the game that we played a year ago, the way this game is set up and the way the powers in it are worded and written and what things are listed out, I think they really influence play. And Richard, like you were saying last week, there's just something amazing about intelligent, non-anthropomorphic animals. Like it's just so fun to sink into that world. I see where you're saying, like, it felt like maybe the combats went a little bit long, but the combats I mostly enjoyed. Like those were some of the best parts of this run, just because, like I said, the way that the game and the system pushes you towards be a dog at the expense of all else. There were a lot of fun things going on around the combats. There were a lot of, like, I had a lot of fun playing with the toys and getting distracted. And then I had a lot of fun on other people's turns, like watching them sink into the dog choices, because the dog choices are inherently more enjoyable than the correct role-playing choices. Like, we were not the ideal adventuring party, but that would have been really boring in this game. And instead, all the mistakes and all the wrong choices and all the misinterpretations are just, like, the best part of it. So, like, John with Czar there, I really enjoyed, like, getting to be torn and yell and bark and go back and forth between, like, well, you're fighting a fight and I don't want to leave the fight, but there's also a thing, there's an interesting thing, come on, look at the thing. And because when we played it last year, Paul sort of sank into that role of, like, the philosophizing intellectual dog, and that's such a great character place, and Idon filled it so well. He was just so off center from anything that I think Luke could even understand, and that was great. I loved it. I loved all of this.
Thank you. Richard, roses?
Yeah, I love the game concept. It says a lot that I normally dislike percentile systems intensely, and the concept and the pieces of that percentile system fit together so well that I think that, and then just all the characterizations, GM characterizations, player characterizations were just wonderful, and just the commitment to let Charlie Brown speak was really awesome. So thank you.
Excellent, thank you. And for my roses, there is something I find a little special about this game. There is something really neat about playing real dogs. And I think that the system does influence you to do that. Could it use some tweaks? Yeah. It is an older game. It is a very trad game. It works off of a percentile system, which has problems no matter what. But something about it is special. It really is. I enjoyed a lot of what the kind of the adventure, the ebb and flow of what it was. I loved every one of your personifications. John, I could definitely understand and know Czar. It was so well fleshed. Luke, who is similar to Sean, so lovable. It's a dog you want to have as your dog. Everyone wishes they had a Luke as their wonderful, happy, jumping around dog at home, despite the damage that it would do to your home. And Richard, every time you make a character in every game we play, and we've played a few now, you always make such a deep, neat character. It is always so interesting to see where you're going. And Aiden was just magnificent. The commitment to kind of what his idea was and how you played into it, just spot on. It's always such a pleasure, and that was a great character.
Thank you.
And as a last rose, I want to say that I think that Rich's Fanuku in the first session was beautifully well established, a really neat character, and I was happy to carry it on as an NPC. I'll tell you, to brag a little on me, I got a bit of goosebumps with my own last scene of him turning around and going into the desert. I thought that was just a lovely way for a dog who said, I have no master, and was so committed to it, exited the stage. So thank you, Rich, for building such a good character that even without you here, it had huge influence. Thank you guys for playing. Who knows, maybe one day I'll put Dog back up on the calendar. Maybe I'll even try and do a little fiddling with it to make it a somewhat more playable game.
The way the breeds are and everything, just looking at it, I was thinking that's pretty close to the same as PBTA playbooks.
It has a lot of similarities.
That's true.
Yeah.
And if you ever play Pugmire, honestly, it has a lot in common with Pugmire, which is based on 5th Ed D&D. It's a very similar game, only you're much more anthropomorphized, full-on, talky waistcoat-wearing doggies in it. There's a lot of play that's similar in character creation. But, again, thank you guys for playing. It was wonderful to meet you, John. Patrick, of course, love you, and I'm always happy when we get to play. And Richard, I look forward to anything I see that I know you're playing with me. So, guys, let's... and folks watching, thank you for watching, and I'm going to end the broadcast here.
It was super awesome.